Yo guys, what's going on? It's a beautiful freaking day at the airport and I've compiled a list of more questions from you guys. So today we're doing Q&A part 2. I don't think I'm gonna do any crazy man eagle camera pickup like I did last time. Wind is like perfect right now. It's 46 degrees. So I'm gonna get set up, get up in the air, and we'll get to the questions. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Ah, he just dropped his Gopro.
Just awkward?
Yeah, it was.
Did that totally
It fell right off.
Damn it. Well, apparently that little guy pulled right out. So what is plan B? If I stuff this down my shirt, maybe, but that's sketchy as hell. Right, Jess. Welcome to Q&A part 2. I'm probably just gonna fly the same pattern I did last time over this open area. Pull out the old cell phone, and this time I compiled a list. I went through a bunch of stuff that you guys have asked. So I'll open up my notepad. Okay, first question. Who am I? I feel like since the new year, I went from 5,000 or 10,000 subscribers up to now like 38,000. So I feel like I want to give a little introduction. Obviously, my name's Tucker Gott. I've been flying since I was 15. I started taking flying lessons in an airplane. I soloed when I was 16, and I got my full license when I turned 17. I've worked in the skydive industry for the last 5 years as a parachute packer. Yeah, I skydive. I have my A license. I think I have 38 jumps now. And I've been flying paramotors since I was 18, 3.5 years ago. I have my associates in business administration. I'm currently still attending college online, and I'm digging this whole YouTube thing. Freaking sick. Yeah, so that's a very basic introduction. I figured I'd just give you guys a super quick summary rundown of who I am. So next question, have you ever thrown your reserve? I have not. I think it's kind of a uncommon thing for people to have to throw the reserve. I know a couple guys that have, but it's really not a common thing to do. Have you ever dropped anything, like my cell phone? No, I haven't. I rarely use a tether. It used to freak me out, holding my phone out like this. Does that freak you guys out or anything? Wait, hold on. What do I go like this? Please note, I'm not over anything right now. I'm over an open field. How often do you fly? Basically, as often as possible. Whenever there's good weather, I'm trying to fly. And as summer comes along, it'll probably be much more often than it has been over fall and winter. Do you skydive? Yes, I hit on that a little bit in the intro, but other than that, people ask a lot, like, do you need skydiving experience before you get into flying paramotors? And the answer is no. They're two very different disciplines. I mean, they both use canopies, but they're very different in flight characteristics and different in general. So no, you don't need skydiving experience to become a paramotor pilot. The best way to become a paramotor pilot, as I said in Q&A number 1, is to get training. A lot of people ask about gear, but the first thing I think you should do is get training, get some flights under your belt, and then go out and buy whatever gear you think suits you best. How do the controls work? Okay, so very basic controls. Right here, I have 2 brakes, one in my left hand, one in my right hand. Basically, you pull left, you go left, you pull right, you go right, and if you pull both, you flare. I don't know if you can see that. And then I let up and I dive. So when I come in for a landing, I flare with both brakes. And right here in my left hand, you see I have a throttle. Altitude control is not done by brakes, it's done strictly by throttle. So if I want to go up, I increase power and I go up. You want to come down, I can bring it all the way to idle, and now I'm just a glider. Doesn't matter if I shut my engine down, doesn't matter if the engine dies. I'm still under basically a paraglider wing with a really good glide ratio, so I can glide pretty far to land in a field if I have to. Let's weight shift right over here. Next question. How much does fuel cost per flight? People ask about like the average operating cost. It's actually really low. I burn about a gallon an hour, so whatever gas is, like $2.50 or something an hour, plus oil. And oil is a little bit more expensive than gas, I would say. I think it's like $10 for a quart, and a quart normally gets me like 8 or 10 gallons. So then add a little bit more per gallon for oil cost. The price is really low. It's like I don't even worry about how much it costs to maintain. If your engine needs replacement parts, that's where it can get a little bit more expensive, but generally the upkeep cost is very low for a paramotor. A lot of people ask, like, I'm X amount of pounds and I want to fly a paramotor, is there a weight restriction? So there really is no weight restriction. All you need is a bigger wing and likely a bigger motor, but the wing is more important than the motor when it comes to carrying weight. There's tandem wings that are 42 square meters. This is a 16 square meter wing, so you can get a really big wing and fly with a lot of weight. This motor is capable of doing tandems. Like I said, the motor's not as important when it comes to flying heavier weight. As long as you can run with a motor on your back, you can fly a paramotor. It doesn't really matter your weight. Okay, so a lot of people ask, why do you always fly at sunset? It's either sunset or sunrise, and the reason for that is during the middle of the day, the sun heats up the air, it creates thermals, which in turn create turbulence. Paramotors are pretty easily affected by turbulence and thermals and things like that, and also wind speed. So the best flying conditions where you have smooth air are found at sunrise and sunset generally. So that's why I'm always out here saying, oh look, the sun's going down, I better get on the ground. Midday flying really isn't a thing. Like, you can fly midday, normally with a different glider that handles collapses better. People ask, how loud is a paramotor? It's not that loud, like operating on the ground. While you're in the air, it is pretty loud. If I took off my earmuffs and flew for half an hour, my ears would be ringing at the end of the flight. So that's why I have 25 decibel earmuffs built into my helmet, and then it's comfortable. Okay, so a lot of the traction, I think, on YouTube came from that 15,000 video where I flew up to 15,000 feet. And honestly, I've never really heard much about the flat earth movement, but it has become very apparent that a lot of people think the earth is flat, and I don't understand, but people take my video as proof that the earth is flat. I only went to 15,000 feet, but airliners fly at like 30,000 feet all day, and there's hundreds of people up there at any given point in time, so I kind of fail to understand why my video has anything to do with the flat earth thing. A question to go along with that is, a lot of people ask, like, oh, why do you use a GoPro with a fisheye lens? Well, I've tried narrow lenses on different cameras while flying, and it just sucks, because basically you see like this much of the image. Like, it would be cropped in on that barn out there and you'd have no idea what was around me. But I truly think the wide angle is essential for like the point of view, kind of putting you guys in my perspective. And I don't really have any plans of giving up using GoPros. I think it's really the best camera for what I do, or action sports in general. And of course, people will comment that I'm being paid by the government to use these cameras or something. I don't even know. Crazy. Oh, so on the whole flat earth thing, if I had to give my opinion, of course, I would say the earth is round. But take it for what it's worth, that's my opinion. As far as I know, to see any curvature of the earth, you have to go like 60 or 70,000 feet up in the air to begin to see the curvature. 15,000 feet, the horizon still looked flat, and I know flat earth people are going to be like, oh, proof, the earth is flat. But no, yeah, 15,000 feet, I didn't see any curvature, but I don't think you would see any curvature. So take it for what it's worth. I think the whole flat earth thing is a bunch of craziness, but that's just me. I had one other, I took a screenshot. Some guy asked me a bunch of questions. Let's get through some of these. Do you smell the exhaust when you fly solo? Not normally. If I do a tight 360 and I fly back through my own wake, I'll smell the exhaust, but it's very rare that I'll smell the exhaust. while flying. How did you learn about small engine repair? I would say just by tinkering with things. These two-stroke engines are relatively simple, so there's a lot of stuff online. You can watch YouTube videos about two-stroke engines and theories and everything, but in general they're fairly simple, and I just kind of learned by doing. Do you carry a radio? I don't. It's not required by law, and I don't think it's really necessary, to be honest. The way I fly at this airport, I'm always under the traffic pattern altitude, and I never linger on either end of the runway where the airplanes would be. So there's really low risk of getting in someone's way, and I've never had any issues, to be completely honest. Yeah, I just keep a constant scan of traffic, which was another question. He asked, how often do you visually scan for other aircraft? It's constant. Through training to be a private pilot, I learned kind of the whole scanning procedure, and it's something that I'm pretty much always on top of, even if I'm using my phone to read questions from YouTube. If a plane was headed your way, what action would you take? I guess it would depend on the situation, but I would imagine the best possible reaction if I was on a collision course with someone would be bury a brake and go in a spiral, and I can lose a lot of altitude really, really fast. There was a situation a while ago where I was doing wingovers. I saw a plane coming at me, and in every cycle of the wingover, I caught a glance of him and he's getting closer and closer. In that situation, we weren't even on a collision course, but he was headed at me. I could visually see him coming from a long distance away, even while I was doing wingovers, and I didn't even have to do anything to avoid him. But the moral of the story is, you can normally see traffic pretty easily as long as you're on top of things. Generally, in aviation, they teach you to both turn right to yield for each other, but a paramotor being a very slow aircraft, I can lose altitude much more than I can create horizontal separation. So my approach would just be to drop a lot of altitude really fast. Alright guys, I think that about sums it up. I've just been circling the landing area, talking here, so I'm going to come in for a landing, and I think I'll cap the video here. So like this video if you like this video. As always, subscribe if you have not yet, and leave some more questions down below for Q&A part 3 coming eventually. Hope you guys enjoyed. Till next time, peace out. Oh no, I just realized I wasn't wearing my flying shoes. This is a good pair of shoes and I just foot drug my toe in. Oh well, it ain't no thing.